मैं देख रहा बैठे ट्रॉफी गुरिंदर सिंह बाजवा जो गुरदासपुर तो फार्मर ने अगले सैशन में अपने विचार रखेंगे। साडा जिहड़ा डे 2 सॉरी आफ्टरनून है अज उहदे विच असीं पशु पालन की गल करनी है। उहदे विच असीं रिक्वेस्ट की है वाइस चांसलर गरवासू डॉक्टर इंद्रजीत सिंह जी वो चेयर करनगे साडा सैशन नूं ते मिल्कफेड दे एमडी साडे हरमन प्यारे अफसर ने के संघा जी आईएएस जो डीसी अमृतसर सीगे मिल्कफेड दे एमडी ने कल उन्होंने सानू को चेयर करना है और कंक्लूड कराउणगे। मॉडरेशन वास्ते रिक्वेस्ट की है डॉक्टर इंद्रजीत सिंह जो पहले डायरेक्टर ने डेयरी दे उन्होंने इस सैशन मॉडरेट करना और इस तो बगैर साडे को डायरेक्टर एक्सटेंशन गढ़वासू दे डॉक्टर प्रकाश सिंह जी ने बोलना है इनफर्टिलिटी इन डेयरी एनिमल्स। फिर साडे को रविंदर गरेवाल जी ने बोलना है ऑन लाइफ स्टॉक फीड मैनेजमेंट ते हरिंदर सिंह जी बोलणगे ऑन फॉडर मैनेजमेंट ते डॉक्टर संडा जो डायरेक्टर एनिमल हस्बेंड्री पंजाब रहे आ वो सानू डिसीजन न्यू एमरजिंग डिसीजन डेयरी एनिमल बोलणगे ते फार्मर दा व्यू रखण वास्ते असीं सरदार दलजीत सिंह सदरपुरा जो प्रोग्रेसिव डेयरी फार्म एसोसीएशन के प्रधान ने पंजाब के वो शामिल होंगे। सो कल साडा जो सवेरे सैशन है उसकी मैं थोड़ी ब्रीफ दे देवां। वो सैशन साडा फूड प्रोसैसिंग ते है डोमैसटिक ते इंटरनेशनल मार्केट ऑफ रेडी टू ईट फूड ते है। ਉਹਦੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਐਮਡੀ ਮਾਰਕਫੈਡ ਵਰਨੂਜਨ ਰਿਕੁਐਸਟ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ ਰੂਜਨ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਆਈਐਸ ਅਫਸਰ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਚੇਅਰ ਕਰਨਗੇ ਤੇ ਕੋ ਚੇਅਰ ਸਾਡੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਜਨਰਲ ਮੈਨੇਜਰ ਫੂਡ ਪ੍ਰੋਸੈਸਿੰਗ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਰਜਨੀਸ਼ ਤੁੱਲੀ ਜੀ ਕਰਨਗੇ ਔਰ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਨਰਪਿੰਦਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੋ ਫਾਰਮਰ ਡਾਇਰੈਕਟਰ ਰਿਸਰਚ ਨੇ ਜੀਐਨਡੀਯੂ ਦੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਕਲਾਸ ਫੈਲੋ ਨੇ ਪੀਜੀ ਤੋਂ ਉਹ ਇਸ ਸੈਸ਼ਨ ਨੂੰ ਮੋਡਰੇਟ ਕਰਨਗੇ। ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਸਪੀਕਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੜੀ ਅੱਛੀ ਲਿਸਟ ਹੈ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਮਹੇਸ਼ ਸ਼ਰਮਾ ਪੀਜੀ ਤੋਂ ਔਨ ਪ੍ਰੋਸੈਸਿੰਗ ਤੇ ਜੋਤੀ ਸਰੂਪ ਜੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਓਨਰ ਈਡੀ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਏਕੇ ਤਿਆਗੀ ਜੀ ਔਰ ਬੀਨੂ ਚੇਰੀਆਂ ਜੀ ਕੰਟਰੀ ਮੈਨੇਜਰ ਹਾਰਵੈਸਟ ਪਲੱਸ ਦੇ ਇਹ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਬੁਲਾ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ। ਇਹ ਸੈਸ਼ਨ ਸਾਡਾ ਸੈਕੰਡ 12 ਵਜੇ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੋਇਆ ਕੱਲ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹਾਰਟੀਕਲਚਰ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਨੀ ਬਾਗਬਾਨੀ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਨੀ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਐਮਡੀ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਐਗਰੋ ਮਨਜੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਬਰਾੜ ਆਈਐਸ ਉਹ ਇਸ ਸੈਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਮੁੱਖ ਮਹਿਮਾਨ ਹੋਣਗੇ ਔਰ ਨੀਐਮ ਨੇ ਐਗਰੋ ਦੇ ਉਹ ਇਸ ਸੈਸ਼ਨ ਨੂੰ ਮੋਡਰੇਟ ਕਰਨਗੇ। ਇਹ ਨੋ ਨੇਮ ਆ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਪੋਟੈਟੋ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਚੱਲਦੀ ਆ ਆਲੂਆਂ ਦੇ ਕਿੰਗ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਜਨਬੱਧ ਸੰਘਾਂ 'ਚ ਸ਼ਾਮਲ ਹੋਣਗੇ ਐਨਐਚਐਮ ਦੇ ਨੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਹਾਰਟੀਕਲਚਰ ਮਿਸ਼ਨ ਤੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਪੇਸ਼ਕਾਰੀ ਦੇਣਗੇ। ਇਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਦਮਨਦੀਪ ਸਿੰਘ ਔਰ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਹਰਵਿੰਦਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੋ ਪੀਏਯੂ ਦੇ ਹੈਡ ਨੇ ਫਰੂਟ ਸਾਇੰਸ ਦੇ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਸੰਬੋਧਨ ਕਰਨਗੇ ਤੇ ਸਾਡਾ ਕੰਕਲੂਡਿੰਗ ਸੈਸ਼ਨ ਕੱਲ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਹਿਕਾਰਤਾ ਦੇ ਮੰਤਰੀ श्री सुखजिंदर सिंह रंधावा जी रंधावा साहब ਨੂੰ ਸਾਡੇ ਚੀਫ ਗੈਸਟ ਨੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕੋ-ਚੇਅਰ ਨੇ ਪ੍ਰੈਜ਼ਾਈਡ ਕਰ ਉਹਨੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੇ ਸੇਵਾ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਜੀ ਆਈਏਐਸ ਜੋ ਵਿੱਤੀ ਕਮਿਸ਼ਨਰ ਸਹਿਕਾਰਤਾ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਕੀਤੀ ਆ। ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਨੋਟ ਐਡਰੈਸ ਜੋ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਸਾਡੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਹੀ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਸੀਨੀਅਰ ਮੋਸਟ ਆਈਏਐਸ ਅਫਸਰ 74 ਬੈਠਦੇ ਬੀਸੀ ਗੁਪਤਾ ਜੀ ਜੋ ਸੈਕਟਰੀ ਭਾਰਤ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਫੂਡ ਦੇ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਸਾਡੇ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਰਜਿਸਟਰਾਰ ਤੇ ਐਫਸੀ ਕੋਆਪਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਰਹੇ ਹੋਏ ਐਮਡੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਆਪਰੇਟਿਵ ਬੈਂਕ ਦੇ ਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ टोन सेट करनी है इस टॉपिक के ऊपर रोल ऑफ कोऑपरेटिव एग्रीकल्चर। एक यंग साडे कोल एग्रीफेड के चेयरमैन ने गोबिंद सिंह संधू वो भी एग्रीकल्चर ये साडा जिहड़ा मोटा मोटा जो मैं रूपरेखा ते बेनती की है। सो मेरी बेनती हैगी आ कि इस सारी रीच वास्ते असीं धन्नवादी हां डायरेक्टोरेट एग्रीकल्चर दे प्लस पीएयू दे जिन्हां ने सानूं बहुत सहयोग दिता। सो इन्हां लफ्ज़ कहते हुए मैं तुहाडा धन्नवाद करदा तुहाडा दा बहुत बहुत धन्नवाद जी। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
थैंक यू शर्मा जी। And now I will request Shri Anirudh Tiwari, Additional Chief Secretary.
Most respected Dr. Baldev Singh Dhillon, former Vice Chancellor of PAU. I think no discussion in Punjab on agriculture or rather in the country can be complete without having the benefit of his wisdom and his knowledge. My very dear friend Karan, Chaudhary, Mr. Nand Kishore Agarwal ji, BM Sharma, Sanjay Agarwal ji, Saurabh Sanayal ji, और हाजरीन, it's always a pleasure, participating in events that PhD Chamber organizes, and I have had the benefit of chemicals, packing materials, transportation. At the same time, the core raw material of a lot of industries really comes from agriculture, and of course, I think anyone who's studied one-on-one economics really would appreciate that this is how we are taught economics when you move from the primary sector to the manufacturing sector. I have been lucky to be associated with this with the agriculture department in Punjab for the last 1 year, and I must say that I have had an occasion to interact not only with the brilliant academic minds from Punjab Agriculture University and my own Department of Agriculture who have had great field experience, but more importantly from practicing farmers. I mean, I think the kind of knowledge and the wisdom that these farmers have, it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. And a lot of times we really underestimate the wisdom and the knowledge of these farmers. I distinctly recall a very interesting incident, and I'm sorry if I relate this anecdote, but I was Deputy Commissioner in Sangrur, and there was an alert from the headquarters that River Ghaggar is going to be flooded, and there's going to be flood in the villages around the Kanori area. Those of you who are familiar with the geography of Sangrur would know that. So, you know, as it was my first year in the district, I had not seen floods in that area earlier. So I immediately rushed to that area, and while we were, you know, along with my all colleagues, while we were traveling on foot, you know, along the banks, I saw one old farmer, you know, sitting very casually on his cot. मंजी ते बैठा सी आराम नाल मोटर ते मैं क्या बाबा तू इत्थे की करदा है फ्लड आने वाला है मैं क्या पानी आने वाला है चल इथों तेरा कोठा भी चल जूगा मोटर भी चल जूगी इनू पट लै ते ही सेड नहीं कुछ नहीं होता मैं क्या नहीं बाबा अलर्ट आ गया उथों ही टोल्ड मी ओ देखो डक्का दिखदा कहंदा ओ मैं डक्का लाया होया कहंदा जद पानी उस डक्के ते ही आ जाऊगा ना उदों बाद मेरे को 4 घंटे हैगे उदों बाद 4 घंटे बाद मेरे कोठे ते पानी नहीं आना ते मेरे को 4 घंटे मैं अपनी मोटर पट लेनी है कहंदा हले डक्के तक पानी नहीं कहंदा अद्धे दिन नहीं आना तुसी आराम करो. Now that is, you know, that is real rustic wisdom, and I had no answer to him. And he has his own, you know, set of adaptability. He has his own set of parameters to negotiate with the vagaries of nature. So what I'm trying to underline here is that we should not underestimate the wisdom of the farmer. That said, it is important for us that we must, you know, Mr. Agarwal raised a lot of issues about rising input costs. He talked about MSP. We could spend actually an entire day on discussing about MSP and input costs and on the rationality of MSP, on whether it is the present rise is justified, not justified, should have been more, should have been less. I mean, it's a whole, it opens a whole set of debates. But what I'm going to talk to here about more is about the theme of the conference that has been, mentioned today, which is farm to fork. And what that essentially means is how we are going to process and add value to the product that the farmer generates from his field. Now, we have tried different experiments. As you are all aware, the dominant crop of Punjab is wheat and paddy, which is an MSP crop. And frankly speaking, what we have been now taking the message, whether it is through PAU or through our direct agriculture department, the farmer, is that it is high time that the farmer starts looking beyond MSP crops. You see, there was a time when the country needed food security. There was a time when the rest of the 97% of the geographical area of the country needed food. And it was this 3% of the area and this 2% of the population that really raised its hand and said, we will produce food for the country. Nobody had stopped any other state from raising their hand. I mean, today everybody's wise, 50 years down the line, when the tummies are full, people have a lot of knowledge to share and a lot of sermons to give. But at that point of time, nobody stuck their neck out that we will slog in the fields. What prevented any other state from doing so? It was the hardy farmer of Punjab. It was the then governments of Punjab who put the institutional mechanism in place, who built infrastructure from their own resources. Trust me, you now have schemes where where grants are given to states to take electricity to the fields. Punjab did that by borrowing money and repaying it through its own taxpayer. I mean, you see, these are so many things that you can discuss. These are issues on which we can talk about a lot. But that said, today we have to move along with the times. And that is what we are telling the farmers, that you have to move along, you have to go beyond, because what has happened is we have ensured the food security of the nation at a great cost. And that great cost is the cost that we have incurred in terms of our groundwater, in terms of our soil health, and also in terms of our air pollution. Today we are all, accused of, contributing to air pollution of Delhi. But by the way, I mean, just friends, those of you who are living in Delhi, we do that only for just about 30 days in a year. 335 days of the year, you yourself are responsible. I mean, even if there is a correlation for 30 days, which is not so well established. And what I also don't understand is I would also like to invite people from Delhi to travel from Delhi to Chandigarh or Amritsar during those times and see for yourself. I mean, if there is smoke which is going from here, is there a way that the smoke can go from the source to another destination without affecting something in between? Is there a way? I mean, if you are burning something in your garden, Can it reach your veranda without, being present in the lawn? It has to be there throughout. Only then it will reach you. We don't have a pipe that kind of transmits that smoke. So, I mean, a lot of issues, a lot of things we can deliberate, discuss. But the point is, we do not shirk a responsibility. And it is in that context that we have been exhorting our farmers to please carry out the in situ management. We have, and we see actually that also as an opportunity for our industry. In this entire in situ management that we have encouraged, or whether ex situ management, what has happened is our agriculture machinery industry has got a flip. We have, that the industry has been able to provide and machines not only to Punjab but also to Haryana and parts of Western UP. So what I see here is that even in an adversity, our industry has again risen up to the challenge when no other part of the country was able to provide machinery in that quantity. The agriculture machinery industry of Punjab against our own agriculture machinery industry rose to the occasion, and for the last 4 years now has been ensuring the availability of good quality agriculture machinery to all the farmers so that they can carry out in situ management. We have been able to do that a lot, and also we are carrying out ex situ management. And I'm sure this in situ management and ex situ management, while helping our industry at the same time, is also helping our farmers, because the moment you carry out in situ management, as PAU has proved and has advised its farmers, it restores our soil health to a large extent. It has an impact on the productivity of the subsequent crop to some extent, and we are encouraging our farmers to go for it. At the same time, we are also encouraging our farmers to go for diversification. You will hear my colleagues from the horticulture department come in. We are continuously encouraging farmers to diversify into fruits and vegetables. Day before yesterday, the Chief Minister actually laid the foundation stone of a new agriculture college in the Kandi area, because that is one area where our productivity levels, where agriculture is not developed to the same extent as it is, say, in Malwa or in the central Punjab area. So there, what we are trying to look at is also look at horticulture, and at the same time also look at medicinal plants and herbal plants. Now, these are the plants that we are encouraging our farmers to grow. PAU, the regional center at Balwal Sompri, has been carrying out research, again, thanks to Dr. Tillon and his vision. It has been carrying out research on amla, on other products, ginger, and also moringa, bamboo that's being promoted in that area. So what we are, and also of course maize, because what we believe is that ultimately this is what is going to help the farmer to diversify. I just have a small request here for the industry also. I've been talking to industry which consumes maize. The input cost, and I know, I mean, at the end of the day, industry also has to survive, but we need to strike a balance somewhere. What is happening is that despite the fact that the farmer in Punjab is producing maize, his maize is not being procured by the industry from the market. And the reason we are being told is that the cost of maize procurement here is close to 1,400 rupees per quintal, whereas you are able to procure maize at 800, 900 rupees from Bihar, and then add another 200 rupees per quintal for its transport. And your landed cost here is about 1,100 rupees. Now, that is not something that encourages our farmers to diversify. Now, if we want, if I am exhorting my farmers to be more environment conscious, and we have actually, the mantra that we have given to our department is that we need to practice sustainable agriculture, and we need to make our farmer prosperous. Now, that sustainability in agriculture can only be achieved if the diversified crop, which uses much less water, I mean, which we are trying to encourage farmer to diversify from paddy, so that the water consumption is reduced, so that the farming is more sustainable. That can be practiced only if the industry also steps up and gets into a partnership with the farmers to procure maize. Now, if you are going to procure maize from Bihar, I mean, you have every right to do so. I mean, there's no legal bar to it. But then we are not supporting the farmer. So then this seminar really would have no, it would just be lip service. if at the end of the day, the industry does not step up and procure the local produce. You have to kind of get into some kind of a balance. You tell us in case there are issues relating to productivity. PAU is always there. We are trying to also do some kind of aggregation. Punjab Agro has come out with food at the local level. We've also done this one district, one product scheme where we have identified these small agriculture products apart from the non-MSP crops, where we are processing them and we are helping them in marketing their product under a single brand name. So Asana is that brand name that we have been able to now establish. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to ensure quality particular brand. So that packaging, that marketing is done by Punjab Agro under a common brand, but the sourcing with quality